All right, Spencer Israel here with Stock Market TV, here with Kenny Glick from Hit the Bid. Kenny, it's earnings season, and you were just saying before we hopped on that this was one of the busiest days of the year for you. Is that true?
This is actually these last 48 hours. I don't think I've slept and I haven't got off this desk. Ask my wife. Yeah. This is legitimately the most busiest 48 hours we've had in years. It's incredible.
All right. Well, what is not good for Kenny's circulation is good for us and our portfolio. So let's get into it. Kenny, we are in the heart of the earnings season here. We had Netflix last night. We have Tesla in a few minutes here tonight.
Yes.
A bunch of airlines tomorrow, Intel tomorrow, Ford tomorrow. Next week is the big week of all the mega caps, Apple and Amazon and all that. You were just telling me that you were trading Netflix, you were trading Mattel, you were trading AT&T and Texas Instruments. These are all reports from yesterday's after-hour session or this morning's pre-market session. Can we bring your charts up on the screen, please? Why don't you walk us through all these trades, how they played out, and what we can do about it now?
Yeah. Do you guys see my screen? You guys see
I,
that right
I
now?
think I think I do.
All right, cool. So basically what you're looking at is what you see when you come into my chat room every day. Sometimes I throw my face on the corner of the screen, but I'm so good looking that it's a distraction.
I get
So
that.
I don't want to do that. But what you're doing every day, it's become so regimented and so monotonous. And those are great words, even though they have negative connotations. If making money becomes repetitious and monotonous and redundant, it's where you want to be. This trade that I developed about 10 years ago, it's becoming bewildering because now for the last 4 years, if we back tested this, we haven't had a loss on the specific setup, not once. It's got to be over 1,000 trades. But, when we started throwing that number out there, people are like, what are you talking about? 1,000 trades in a row? You should be a billionaire. It's this very specific setup. And you have to wait for an earnings report. You have to wait for the setup. And again, there's been hundreds of other thousands of trades over the last 4 years. If you stick to this one, and we started a new streak. So since Delta Airlines, which was 2 weeks ago, not one loss on the specific setup. So let me show you how we walk through it. So this morning, we had Mattel. Generally don't really want to trade Mattel. Nobody trades Mattel. Who trades Mattel, right? We do.
You do.
Because it reports earnings. So last night, and again, I was here last night, and I legitimately haven't slept in 2 days. I actually was doing a seminar at 10:30 in the evening last night because our room is 24 hours, 7 days a week. It's basically my life. So last night I was trying to explain to people what to prepare for the next day. So it's always good to have a heads up, and kind of like what we do on it, we make a little email and send it out to you. But I'll cut to the chase. Mattel reports earnings, right? Stock gets smoked, right? And in that smoking, it already showing you what it probably wants to do. Look, it goes down to a half number and then starts to bounce. That bounce is where we come into play. It's called a fake out, shake out, and then a breakout. Faux show, bro. Now, again, a lot of us don't trade in the aftermarket, neither do I. But the range that it held and these candles that it held last night, especially that peak right here, then becomes part of our algorithm the next day. So now we know what it did last night, and the algo factors in all of that motion from last night. So when you see a repetitious, monotonous trade pattern show up, there it is. So the fake out, it's when a stock breaks a new low, breaks another new low, then it breaks the VWAP. So faux show, bro, VWAP break. And then with the way we trade, which is becoming almost comical now, you have your reason to buy, you have your stop, which is the area where it stopped going down, and then you also have your target all built into the trade. So you're buying a stock right here at $17.35. You're risking 35 cents, and you're already getting a defined risk reward because your reward is the orange line. Because what we've been doing for the last decade is this one specific trade. And when I tell you it's hard to believe, it truly is hard to believe that we haven't had a loss yet in it's got to be 4 years now. And here we are again. So it's a very simple concept. Remember, when stocks are gapped down in a bull market, there are people that want to do two things. They got to cover their short because they're lucky enough to actually got a short that made money, or more importantly, they're going to buy the dip because this market doesn't go down. And again, we traded this market exclusively short today, and it was one of the best days of the year. And all of those shorts are over right now. We're not nuts. We'll short them when the time comes. And just like this. So this trade makes a victim of the shorter. That's why it's so good. And because I'm a big fan of shorting, that's why it actually it's like this trade has saved my life. Because when it breaks over the VWAP, the shorters know, the real shorters, the intelligence shorters, know your trade's over and you got to join the winning team. So if you get the opportunity to buy a stock that reported earnings before the VWAP break to the orange line, you're talking about $1,000 right here on a very simple trade. And if you're trading options, here's another special thing to do. So if you're looking at the stock, it's breaking 1730. So all we do is we trade the at the money weeklies, or if there are weeklies, in this case, it was only the monthlies. So we went right to the 17s. Well, it's not populating right now. There they are. It's a very, very small trade. But look, that was a 96 entry, and they went to the orange line at 205. Just a measly 100% on your money on this one trade. But wait, there's more. AT&T. Who in the hell trades AT&T? We do, because it reported earnings. And when these stocks report earnings, Spence, that activity, which takes a normally boring stock that nobody trades, becomes a freaking juggernaut. And look how awesome this trade is. So here's the earnings release. I'm not even awake. And I saw that. That's at 7 o'clock in the morning. I had just woken up. I was like, oh, do I want to trade right now? But then it breaks the orange line. And I have a trade. If it breaks the blue and the orange line, 100% of the time over the last 4 years, which is an insane number, you get follow through. So why not just short it? If the trade continues to work, let's keep doing it. Gaps up on earnings, 1 minute multi-day VWAP reversal, and then it goes right back to those reaction lows where we're covering some, and then it plummets. And here's where it gets real fun. Right before the open, I don't like to be in position. So we covered our short, and then we wait for the next trade. And what do you see here, my friends? Fake them out, shake them out, VWAP break. So not only are we not short anymore, we covered for a wonderful trade on the downside, and then we're buying here at 25, and one little test of the VWAP right there doesn't scare us. Look where it goes, to the orange line. To the orange line, to the penny. So you've got your reason to buy and where the sellers are lurking for a reason to sell, and then look what happened. We got paid on a short, got paid on a long, and look at that beautiful sell right there. And then we got stopped out during this mess right there for another phenomenal trade. Wait, there's more. Texas Instruments. What do you notice there, friends? It's the same chart. Breaks the low, comes right back, breaks VWAP. We're in. 165 entry, thing ripping to 169.50. Now, here's what's special about the trade setup, my friends. Let's say you're nervous. You don't want to trade pre-market. You don't want to trade the open. If the stock comes back and tests my wonderful blue line and holds it like a champ, it's giving you another opportunity to get involved with limited risk. So limited risk, you're buying it right here, or the 167.50 break where I got involved. And in this case, it wasn't perfect, but look at this wonderful trade. 167.50 got us back to the highs where we sold some, and then we got to 172.50. And look, we were expecting it to go to the orange line, and then it rolled over, and the blue line says, hey, listen, the trade's over. Sell the rest. You're out. And that's pretty much, this monstrous day. And I'll talk about Netflix. Netflix was your dud. And I really came in with high expectations today. So you got the setup, and this is the important part I want you guys to take away from this moment. When I say the trade sets up to provide you a winning trade, sometimes that winning trade, it's over 10 minutes later. That doesn't mean you didn't win. You just had to get out because look, there it is. Fake them out, shake them out, VWAP break. So I'm buying right here at 140. And again, I didn't go crazy. This was like a 50 lot, 50 shares. And it's ripping 7 points. That's $300 on 50 shares. And then it dips and then it rips. And right here, I got greedy. I was up big. And I was like, all right, now that we're breaking the 155, I thought we were going to go back to the levels from where we came. And I thought this was going to be one of those monstrous trades. and I was wrong. But then VWAP tells me, hey, man, it's okay to be wrong. Just don't stay wrong. And I had to take that. I took a profitable trade and I turned it into a flat trade. But that's the power of the VWAP. It tells you, hey, man, you might have made a mistake. Don't make it worse. And you had to get out. And that's the day. And this day, on top of all that, if you guys know about me, big fan of shorting, huge fan of shorting. And I've been waiting for this day for quite some time. And all these red lines, these were prior day VWAPs. So when we here's that moment, right? So the orange line in this case, what's it doing? It's providing you a place of resistance. So if you get to the blue and you get to the orange and then you break down, that's telling you that those sellers are legit. Time to get short this market finally. And down she went. And we stayed short the whole day because what we do is we take a look at multiple time frames of VWAP. And the algo is telling us that we have a pretty good shot at getting down at 603.92. And if that breaks, we're going to go to 601.92,
Wait,
which,
Kenny, I had a question. I wanted to ask you about those red lines. So
yeah,
all those red lines are different VWAPs from different time frames.
well,
But
those work. Yeah, yeah. So what I do is,
you don't know by looking at that chart, which, and nor do you care, right? Which time frame. You only care that it exists. Is that right?
that's true. And what I do with those red lines, I leave them up there. So I draw those red lines to remind me of those pivot points. So if I take that same trade, generally the pivot points that worked earlier remain the same pivot points later in the day. So I leave them up there. But right now, let me just show you on a minute chart. This is this is as good as it gets as far as shorting. You got paid, the downtrend was intact. We covered on the way down. And then what do you see here, my friends? Fake them out, shake them out, fake them out, shake them out. And then that was the end of the trade. So those faux show bros, they show up everywhere. And you got to be knowledgeable enough to know how important it is that if you don't break down and you start to rally, those are generally your lows. And the USAR, which I have on live right now, again, another trade where just consolidation, fake them out, shake them out, and then you buy the break, and now you got the VWAP, and now we're looking for it to retest the 2505 area. And like I said, this has been one of the most active, fluid, incredible markets I have ever seen, and I've been doing this for 30 years.
So the thing I want to get at though is really there's three main I guess groups that you trade. You trade the Qs, right? You trade
Yes,
these
every day.
high flyers, USAR or quantum rigetti, whatever the hell you want to call it, and you
Yeah.
trade earnings. Now you might use the same pattern or the same setups for all those things, but that's more or less your sandbox, right? So we are in, as I said at the top, we are in the heaviest part of the earnings season this week and next week. So how do you decide tomorrow morning you'll get to your desk? How do you decide what earnings you're going to trade?
Great question. More volume, more better, more activity, more better, and liquidity of options. So come Thursday and Friday, I start to get into the option trading. So like that Mattel trade, you saw the illiquidity of it because it's a monthly. I want to trade right at the money generally. So I don't care about time. So when I trade an option, I want to be able to get the closest to the money, the closest to expiration, because I don't care about, I'm not going to hold the option. So when I look at some of these names, Tesla definitely on the list, Texas Instruments, AT&T, all of them had mostly weekly options. And then, you've got probably 85 companies reporting. It's generally because I'm an expert or pseudo expert. I don't like calling myself expert. They charge me for more data. But you got to know where the volume is, and that's an important thing to know. And then again, what we do is we just go check. If you got a stock, and again, one of our biggest winners of the day had very little volume. And if you guys are in VICR, let me give it. Anybody got this stock? We're in from 58 bucks from 2 days ago. Insane report today. We're still in this stock and holding on to it because this could be a major breakout, even though it's up 20 points. But it's hard to day trade when a stock has very limited volume and the options are usually as illiquid as the stock. So I try to stick to where the volume is.
Do you care at all about like the type of stock? So, like for example, tonight, right? We've got Tesla, right? Huge, huge, huge company. We've got QuantumScape, right, which is not in the same class as Tesla. We've got IBM, which is like slow and stodgy. And tomorrow morning, we've got names that have been memey in the past, names like Nokia, for example. But then you got
Yeah.
Dow components, right? Like Honeywell and stuff like that. So does the type of stock or the way it typically behaves, does that matter at all to you?
The behavior of the stock, yes. I thought you were going to go sector or business that they're in.
No, 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 no. But
The
like
only
in
thing I
terms of in terms of like a Tesla or an IBM or a QuantumScape, right? Those are three very different stocks for very very different reasons.
Right. Well, on earnings day, it kind of is the equalizer because you do get a volume burst. Some stocks like Lam Research, for instance, coming out.
Sure.
It doesn't have a lot of volume and it's a large stock. Sometimes I won't even look at those because they don't appeal to everybody. And again, now that they have a split, they did the 20 for one or with the 10 for one splits, a different situation. But usually I'm just trying to find price zones, and also comfort level. Not everybody wants to trade Netflix or even the options. So I stick to the ones where I'm trying to get a mixed bag. And again, tomorrow we've got, I think it was about 85. I've already narrowed the list down to 12. And then tomorrow we'll look at the pre-market action in these names and we'll whittle the list down to 8. And then I put them in the scanner and I put them in my algo and they track them to make sure that we don't miss the VWAP, right? Because we're only humans. And, again, it's hard to stay focused, but even if you're only down to those 12 stocks, you will miss trades. Today, I missed a couple of entries because I'm basically doing something else, and that what we try to do in the room is put them in there, put them in the room. Just know the names that we're trading and get an email in the beginning of the day, give you a heads up of what we're looking at. And then it's just rinse and repeat. You're looking for that chart pattern, and then you're looking to strike. And then tomorrow, actually, again, we'll talk more a little bit more options on Thursdays and Fridays because of the weekly expiration.
So 130 earnings reports today, 153 reports tomorrow, whittling that list down to basically a dozen, right? And that's what you're
Yeah.
going to be
And
getting.
again, and then sometimes it's just I'll choose two to stay focused on because, again, this whole game that we're playing here, you blink and you miss your entry, and then sometimes you feel like, oh, well, I missed my perfect entry. You'll start to see that there is no perfect entry. If you get around the VWAP or around the prior day VWAP, it's good enough. There's going to be some slippage. But the thing is, some of these stocks, if you miss that first move, sometimes there's nothing left. Like Netflix was kind of a dud today. But the list is such a variety of names that there's always something going on. And we're looking at, and they're popular names. You guys know Alcoa, SAP, Las Vegas Sands, Vikings Therapeutics, VKTX. We're looking at Kinder Morgan. Only day I look at that, Robert Half. So, I've been doing this my whole life. I know how to whittle these lists down. And then, when the numbers come out, I'll show you a little glimpse on how we plan our attack. And then the next day, you're just ready to rock.
We got in the YouTube chat, we got Art Vandelay apparently taking time away from his day job to watch this. So we appreciate that, Art. He's asking, what metric is that dotted yellow line? That's the secret sauce, right?
Secret sauce, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. Brian Shannon is the stock market, the VWAP emperor, or let's call him the VWAP overlord. And he uses what's called anchored VWAP. I took the idea and I specifically started to figure out where I want to anchor them automatically. So now I don't have to. There is no anchoring. It's anchored for you over on the time frames that I built into the script to give you the best time frames. And that's basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days worth of data. And then I start looking at weeklies, monthlies, yearlies, and even multi-year VWAPs. Because when I first started doing this, I never imagined it working on yearlies and even like 3-year VWAP. The 3-year VWAP has provided me the best winning trades of my entire career. Because when a stock is lingering under a 3-year VWAP and it comes out, that's why I was first onto these quantum stocks, because they were all, lack of a better term, dog shit stocks. These were awful stocks that had been left for dead. And when they come out of those extended VWAPs, they run. And you saw what happened. These metal stocks, I was onto these when they were penny stocks. Quantum, space, rockets, robots, this whole entire bull market. At one point, majority of these stocks in 2025, which is the year of the dog shit stock, no joke, Most of the stocks that have made the best moves have zero earnings, zero business model, and most of these companies are hemorrhaging cash and inevitably going to go to zero. But the game is afoot. You're going to keep running worthless stocks 20, 30, 300%. I'm in. And the VWAP levels give you that opportunity to trade these. And again, let me just show you my favorite trade of the day. It was not earnings related, but it was FWLS, or sorry, FLWS. This stock. Look at this chart. Now, a lot of people could get hurt by this. We were buying this stock, going crazy long, thinking, oh my God, another short squeeze from hell. Let's go. Woo. And then what I say, around 9:30, I don't even want to be in stocks. But even before the market opened up, the VWAP's telling me the game's over. It's time to sell your stock and go short. And that is why I love trading, because you can go from rah, 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 let's go crazy, to let's dump the stock and shove it down these complacent bulls' face, right in your face. This is my best trade of the day. This is my best trade of the week. I absolutely lit it up. You know, you're talking about a $7 stock where we're getting an indication to short at 778. And now next thing you know, this thing's at 668 and telling you not to cover. Look how it times. Look at this. These are algorithmic moments telling you don't cover, don't cover. It's about to roll over. And look at this garbage. Gave back the whole day, all in one day. You guys were having some fun with Beyond Meat. So were we. But then it was time to crush you. Blue line, orange line. And yeah, I did a lot of trading in Beyond Meat. All those red lines where we were covering and putting stops. So let me just clean it up for you. You know, this Beyond Meat, ridiculous move over the last couple of days. As the bear here, I'm just looking for a reason to short, and I got my reason right there. You know, your classic head and shoulders right there meets the VWAP. Short it right there, cover it right there, and look at this wonderful trade. Short 657, covering $4.13. What's up? So those are my two best trades of the day. And we're in the middle of earnings season. So there is so much going on. It is just unbelievable. I never thought I'd be living this day. This is my old life. We never stopped trading back in the 90s. If you left the desk, you got an anxiety attack. I never thought I'd have these anxiety attacks ever again, but in a good way.
I think that's a good place for us to wrap it up, Kenny. The market's going to close here in a few minutes. You are going to be watching the reports from tonight. Like you said, the action from tonight's session will give you levels for tomorrow morning, and you'll go from there. If you're
Yeah.
watching us on YouTube, I just dropped the link in the chat to join Kenny tomorrow morning. Uh, and every day thereafter, for that matter. If you're watching us on Stock Market TV or hitthebid.com, just scroll down and the link to join is right there. If you're watching us on Twitter or X, I simply replied to the tweet with the stream with the link to join. Kenny, like you said,
Before you go, are we wrapping this up, or do you want to carry this in? I could show you some. I could show you some.
oh, you want to do some live stuff out after? Let's get it. Let's get into it.
Yeah, I mean, Tesla's going to make us wait. And again, this is part of the scam that is the market. If you know these daily options, they stay open till 4:15. That's why Tesla reports at 4:15. Because back when they started this and they started having these daily options, and again, you're sitting there with a QQQ call, let's say it's 6:06 that you're about to expire worthless. If a company that influences the queues come out, you still got 15 extra minutes. Now the bastards, they wait for 4:15 so you don't get that chance to try to maybe, get out of those trades. Because I've had one of the most incredible lucky trades. I think it was last year. I had some QQQ calls, and Facebook came out with a monster number, and I went from a zero to a 200, 2000% return because we were in some nickel options that we were just gambling on. Facebook came out with the numbers. The options were at zero. Next thing you know, they were printing at two because they're live till 4:15. But now they purposely put those influential numbers at 4:15 to kind of take that away. But we do have IBM coming out at 4:10. But again, let me just show you what's up right now. These QQQ trades, right? You see how it went back this is reversion to the VWAP. That's one of the first lessons I learned about VWAP. It's like a magnet. So once you break trend, you broke the VWAP here and you trended down, but once you broke the downtrend, where do you go back to? You revert back to VWAP. So the trade, and I didn't do this one, I just covered my shorts down here. Some of the guys were buying the 602s and the 603s, these daily options. Take a look at the enormity of the percentage gain. So just on a little notion that you're going to get a reversion trade, they're buying the 603s with, maybe a half an hour left in the day. And sorry, I just broke the chart, but hang on, 603s. Let me get closer to the money. Bang. Sorry, that's not them. There they are. Right? And there, what's I like this is Thinkorswim, by the way. You can actually chart the option itself on the chart. So look at this trade. That's a $1.50 entry, and they went to $3. Just taking a slight small bet on the idea that we're going to revert to the VWAP. Bang. Cash. All right. So you guys still with me?
Oh, I'm with you, man.
All right, cool. All right, so you guys know QuantumScape. Let's stick with some popular ones. Huge fan of Alcoa, one of my favorite stocks. Alcoa, obviously Tesla, which is my favorite stock on the earth. You got IBM. And guys, if you don't know Kinder Morgan, that's too old for you guys. But yeah, we'll look at Kinder Morgan tomorrow. But yeah, Tesla, IBM, QS, and Alcoa. So let's see which one comes out first. We got 405, 410. So yeah, while we're waiting for some of the numbers to drop, I'll show you how we plot them. So I'll go back to the Mattel. By the way, Hasbro's coming out too, I think tonight, or maybe tomorrow morning. Usually come back to back. So what we're doing here is exactly what I do, right? So we wait for the numbers to come out. We don't gamble into the number. The only thing we've gambled into the number in years, actually, was this VICR, because if you guys read the report, there's something special going on at this company. We're in from $58. There was no reason to sell at all. Legitimately think this thing's going to 120 next couple of days, regardless. But let's go find Alcoa. So what I like doing, I do some homework. I want to know what the stock's done going into the report. And look at this. This is a move from April. So April to right before the report, the stock's already up 100%. So it's susceptible to a lot of extra volatility because of this massive move. It doesn't imply it's going to go up or down, but because of this move, it's better say something good to qualify that it doubled. And if they say something bad, you could expect it to get hammered. And even if it's not good enough, I expect there to be some profit taking because the move has been so awesome. So now we just fast forward and we just look at it in a 1 minute, and then you wait for the numbers to come out. So what we got? Yeah, that's about it. So Tesla is going to be the big one, IBM, and we still got some time. So if anybody has any questions while we wait, shoot.
Yeah, let's do a few from the chat. How do you know where to put the red lines?
The red lines are the pivot points. So I trade only price. So let me clear this up for you, right? So here, for instance, I'll just show you a couple of my trades. Go back to the Mattel, right? What are the red lines? The red lines, I put them at where stocks stopped going down, where they stopped going up, where they pivoted from. Exactly the price. I trade exact price. No moving averages. I got VWAP to tell me my moving average. It's the most important moving average there is. It's the only one in my case. Blue lines today's, orange lines prior. And then the pivots are just where the stock legitimately stopped going down and then something happened there. So I draw those lines at those prices. So for instance, here, so last night, when this thing ripped higher, well, that's not last night. Last night, when it hit the 1449, I draw the line. Where it's first move up, I draw a line, 1582. And then kind of where it peaked out for the night was 1828. I just want to be reminded the next day of kind of where all that movement happened. And you see the line from 1828, look how it came into play the next day, almost to the almost to the penny, almost to the penny. So, again, when you trade price, the way I look at this market, it's completely programmed. It's a program, and it's programmed to price and volume weighted average price. So all I do is I just look at price and VWAP. So it's not moving averages. The only two lines I have in my chart, again, the blue and the orange, those are algorithmic VWAP prices. And then I draw the pivot points on there, kind of giving us the roadmap to what we think the stock's going to do. And then we try to stay on the right side of VWAP, and we all live happily ever after. All right. So give me some more questions, and then IBM's going to hit.
What's your stop on the 1 minute view out reversal pattern?
Well, it's generally prior candles. So here, let's say, it was the last trade of Mattel. It breaks the VWAP, right? So you're not feeling bullish because it finally broke VWAP in the middle of the day. I'm not shorting. I've had some long trades on it. Usually I stay in the ebb and flow. I was kind of looking for another long trade. So let's assume you were sitting there waiting for that long trade. There's the fake out, shake out. See how it breaks the low, comes right back, then it tests it. That's the trap, not us. We're not getting trapped. I invented that trade. Fake them out, shake them out, both show, and then the VWAP break. So the better you get at this, you'll start buying into that move. But let's say you bought the VWAP break. All right, you waited for the VWAP. You bought 1818. The fake out and the shakeout are your stops. So those red lines that I draw where they fake them out, shake them out, you're buying 1,000 shares at 1818. I usually put 500 at the first one, 500 on the last one. Clearly define my risk. My reward waits for me at the orange line. And look, not a life-changing trade, but as a day trader, if you can risk 18 cents and make yourself 25, it's money. On 1,000 shares, again, you don't have to
All right,
be
Kenny, looks like Tesla's out. The numbers are what they are, not that you care. Looks like EPS was a little bit light. Revenue was nice.
okay.
Margin was okay.
You already got a foe and a show, right? So if this was tomorrow, normally I'm sitting here hovering at this price, ready to buy. Because when you break a new low and then you come back and you break VWAP, that's the trade. And it's happening right in front of us. There you go. And if you're trading it right now, congratulations. You got a fake out, shake out, VWAP break on an earnings report. I've heard these trades don't fail. And right here, now again, I don't like trading in the aftermarket because you have excessive volatility. But when this thing sets up the way it just did, sometimes it really is that easy. Fake them out, shake them out, VWAP break, buy the VWAP break. Next thing you know, you're looking for it to get back to the nearest orange line. But look at this trade already. If you bought the VWAP break at 436, and you don't got to be crazy here. Let's say you just bought 200 shares and now sell them right now. You just made yourself $400. Boom. Now, again, I don't trade the aftermarket. I just kind of get a feel for what the market's doing because I want to see the bigger ranges because there's usually bigger moves in the aftermarket. You got the earnings per share, forward guidance, then the conference call, and then Elon talks about his new projects and so forth and so on. But tomorrow, when there's more liquidity and more flow and less danger, right? You see how this trade's setting up right now? And if I would have bought this, I would have sold some, and then I use the foe, and the show as my outs. So you take a little profit, you can let the trade breathe. But again, I'm not doing this trade right now. Let me show you Lam Research, right? Lam Research just exploded to the upside. So now when a stock goes up on earnings, I look for the reversion trade. So while this thing's ripping higher, I like taking, let me get rid of the lines from last quarter, brand new stock, right? So what I'm doing here now is I'll just plot my attack. So we just hit a double top already. VWAP's over here, low of the day, 2 low prints. So as a reversionary trader, once I see something top out, tomorrow's VWAP will be trailing the stock. Now it's kind of just stagnant because there's not a lot of volume. Tomorrow, when the volume starts to pour in, you get more data and more or less chance of being manipulated and less chance of getting whipsawed. And you just come to play And by the way, if anybody's in the Tesla, let's go walk through that trade, right? So there you go. While we're doing this, the first one, there it is. Faux show, bro. VWAP break to the orange line. Thank you, my team. My name is Kenny Glick. Have a nice day. See? Couldn't have planned it any better. Now you could all go. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I could only show you the trade. I don't understand how it works every time, but my God, it works every time, baby. And now look at this wonderful trade. Faux show, bro, VWAP break. You're in from 436, you sell from 438, you place your stop here. Next thing you know, it rips to the orange line. Boom. You're done. And what did you just spend? 4 minutes in this trade? Most of the time, a lot of these trades do happen, within the first 15 minutes or a half an hour of the day. You legitimately only trading. Again, I haven't left the desk in no joke about a week and a half because it's so much going on. But if you just want to do a hit it and quit it, there's nothing better than what just happened there. Hit it, quit it, sell it, done.
That was amazing. That was. Do you want to do one more? Let's do one more and let's get out of here. Let's do IBM.
All right, let's do Alcoa because
All
I'm
right,
a
Alcoa.
all right, Alcoa. I love me some Alcoa. Ooh, perfect. First moves down, I'm immediately looking to buy it, right? So there, $35, big fat whole number. Top of the candle itself is the only thing we could judge anything on. I don't even know if the numbers came out yet. That might be just not a money print. So let's see if they reported. All right, they did. So it's out. So you only got that one candle so far. So right now, let's say it starts the next couple of candles stay inside. You guys know about inside candles, right? Stays inside the reaction, comes outside the reaction candle, breaks the VWAP, you're buying it. So right now, not much going on. And that's why, again, tomorrow is even more exciting. Aftermarket could be a little dangerous because the volume's not really there. Tomorrow, pre-market and the open, when the volume starts pouring in, you have a much better chance of success, and patience always pays off. So, right now we already have our game plan in hand. The Tesla, the Alcoa, obviously the IBM. And if you guys know about QS, been a big fan of this stock. Huge fan, been trading it almost every day. I guess the numbers are out. Wait, hang on. Not yet, but it looks like here. So right now, you kind of had some weird, I don't know if that was real, I wasn't there to see it, but, again, under VWAP, the simplest thing, look at this. They rallied into the close, little sell-off to shake you out. That could already be a fake out, shakeout. And if this thing breaks back over the VWAP, I don't think they reported yet, but that's how we set it up. So when you get the fake out and the shakeout, and then it rallies and comes back to test those levels, that's generally a buy signal. And somebody's been buying it right there. I mean, it's only 10 cents, but now you wait to see if this confirmation is confirmed by the VWAP. And the next thing you know, you're buying this one. So again, the numbers aren't out. You could expect another chop any second now. But this is it. Within 30 seconds, I know exactly what I want to do. And it's not that I know what I'm going to do and they're all going to work. I plot my attack and then I wait for the setup. I wait for more volume where it's less risky. And again, if anybody tells you that day trading is the riskiest trading, it's the least risky trading because you're in control. You're in the moment. Once you hold the stock overnight, that's risky. I got a better chance of telling you where a stock's going to be in the next 40 minutes than where it's going to be 40 days from now. So anybody who tells you day trading is the riskiest type of trading, it's the least riskiest trading. Other than my father, if you want to own the stock for 20 years, yes, that's the least risky. But the way we trade, we take the smallest amount of risks, and every trade we take is clearly defined by the price action and the VWAP, and you're in control. If the trade's going against you, you sell it. There's no waking up to the CEO and getting indicted or bad numbers or good numbers. The numbers are out, and then we trade the reaction afterwards. All right, we got 2 more minutes, and a couple more will come out. O'Reilly, I don't know if you guys traded Las Vegas Sands, but what we're witnessing right here, hang on, is what I do. Hey, what's up, cutie pie? I see you, baby. Hello. All right,
That
and
would
there
be my
you
baby
see
he's
us.
talking to. You know what? Screw it, Gene. Screw it. You can put me on the screen. I've been hiding here in the
Yeah, we
background,
haven't seen your baby yet. Oh man,
listening to Kenny and holding the baby at the same time. So,
that's how I
so
used to trade.
if you think that you are not ready for this, he's learning right now. Okay, if he can learn it, you can learn it.
Oh
His
my
brain's
God.
barely
I'm
developed.
having kid flashbacks. I have a college graduate son now. Used to
Yeah,
sit on my lap and I'd have my infant over here just holding her up so she didn't fall over. And my kid was on my lap trying to trade.
yeah.
Crazy time.
That's what this is.
But the best time of my life. Enjoy it every second of it. The best. So cute. All right,
Uh,
listen, let's wrap it up. Yeah, so listen, if you want to see what we're all about, tomorrow night also I'm doing a little free, event. I call it the Schmooze. Got a real special guest if he shows up, but again, usually it's just us talking about
if he
algorithms,
shows up.
planning about options.
Listen, the link is in the chat, it is in the description, it is on the screen below. If you have any questions, email. The address is kenny@hitthebid.tv. And look, you just saw it happen. He'll be there tomorrow morning. He's there every morning from like 7:30 onward, 8 o'clock onward, trading through the open. And this is what he does.
There
So
it
if
is. There it is. Another
oh
one.
my God,
Oh, show, bro. VWAP break. Rip to the orange
Jesus
line.
Christ,
Bang.
it's crazy,
Bang.
man.
It works every time, my friends. It's absolutely sick. I don't know how
Yeah.
to explain it. I don't want to explain it anymore. The trade keeps working. I'm going to keep taking it and making money. Join
This
us.
I've seen it enough. I've seen it enough. I've seen enough.
And listen, if you
Okay.
want to hang for nothing, email that. We're going to have a free thing Thursday night. If you like the Grateful Dead and dancing and singing, we're going to do some dancing and singing, and then we go do some charting for a couple hours, and then we have a DJ show up. It's a whole lot of fun.
All
Thursday night, tomorrow night. All right?
right.
Just
Yep.
email
Kenny,
us.
thanks a lot. And I guess we'll see you tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I'm never
All
leaving.
right. Say bye, baby. Say bye,
Bye,
baby.
baby. See you guys. Thanks for hanging out.